devotees from Muzaffarpur.
This is doing something.
They were other devotees, his fellow devotees from Muzaffarpur.
But the room was yours.
No, they are staying in the ashram. They have come to
These
the
fellows
ashram.
were there and that.
Today I'm meeting first time. They have heard a lot about me and they were coming here, so they came to me.
Acha, acha.
And as soon as I'm my 12th person, I started sweating.
You become nervous.
There are 4 beds in that room, 4 beds. One wife was occupied with his wife alone. She sits up with the other woman, 4 beds completely separate until they are not husband, brothers. Then I was directed on the 2nd bed. Other people were all sitting on the 2 beds. Toilet or something, they are overhearing that they are loading, then they are knocking the door and coming in, make place to them to sit. Oh.
Fantastic.
Then some other people also, they also joined, then by 11 o'clock everything, that part of the night in the ashram, so others are all sleeping. I ran for my life from there. If anyone sees me, it's the hospital in charge, Jauraji. He's very strict.
Yeah.
He's very nice to me, but I know his behavior, how harsh he can be at times. So I was afraid of him. I, looking no left, no right, I told already Jaiguru, I ran out from there, I don't want to be seen here.
Yes.
Otherwise they will go and tell the Swamijis that this fellow comes from where, and comes to the guest house buildings and makes noise at this part of the...
But also, it was good for us, because we were then off the hook for being the loudest
noisiest group.
that had ever been to Ranchi. From then on, the Muzaffarpur group were then had the award.
Loudest.
So you are one rank below them.
Yes, we are number 2. We are number 2. And you know, we are not sure whether we will compete for number 1 again, because we want to keep a low profile.
No, nothing.
कल तुम तो आएगा ना वो महाबली टेम्पल हाँ
Sir,
then
I am-
about like 12 o'clock
अगर ये आया था
ऐसे मैं तो यहाँ करके जाऊँगा उसके बाद मैं
उसके सभी इकट्ठे।
आप नहीं हो पाएगा
हाँ, क्या है?
अपने पास 9 साल में 10 बजे
सामने भी अल्लाह करेगा उधर
हाँ यहाँ नहीं हाँ
12
और वो स्पीच सब पूरी होने पे 12 बजे तक तो कुछ है और उसके बाद क्या होगा देखेंगे अगर इन लोग को थोड़ा सा
मार्केटिंग ये
तब तो मैं हम लोग 3 भी तुम्हारा रूम चेक
This young gentleman is Sudhir, and he is our guide all over Bodhgaya, and we will be seeing him tomorrow morning. And I wanted to make sure that he was on our video.
I did.
And I'm looking at the end of the table there, Mr. Dixit from Purnia, and Mr. Singh.
And Bhubaneswar.
Oh, excuse me, and Bhubaneswar, originally Bhubaneswar.
Yeah.
And Mr. Singh from Muzaffarpur. Muzaffarpur.
Yeah.
I got that. Okay, good. See, he corrected me on that. I'm very glad. So I said it probably incorrectly. These are YSS devotees from those 2 cities, and there is quite a sizable group in Muzaffarpur, but Mr. Dixit is all alone in Purnia. But one day he'll find out that there are 27 others that he doesn't know about when somebody will say it's time for a Kendra. And then, poof, just like that, they'll all pop out of the woodwork.
Buddhist Health Center Shravasti in the state of Uttar Pradesh in India. I take this privilege in briefly introducing the center to one and all present here. Following in the footsteps of the most venerable Anagarika Dharmapala and being inspired by his great activities in furthering the noble cause of the Buddha Sasana, the center has undertaken a long-felt need to help the visiting pilgrims from the world all over coming to India on pilgrimage to the places of interest pertaining to the life of the Buddha and Buddhism. With this objective in view, the International Buddhist Health Center has been established at the Purvarama Vihar at Shravasti in Uttar Pradesh with a branch in Kolkata. In order to familiarize the modern mind with rational and scientific explanation of the message of the Buddha, there is no proper institution or center. With this view in mind, and to assist the visiting pilgrims in numerous other ways, the International Buddhist Health Center has been established to provide proper assistance and guidance to the pilgrims visiting India to the sacred sites and other historical and religious places connected with the life of the Buddha, and also as well as to the students willing to study Buddhism in India and Sri Lanka. So as we begin this function, we have assembled here for transferring of merits. So we have a very brief program. The program begins with a brief introduction of the center, which I just completed. Then there is the welcome address by Venerable Nenue Ratanati Sathero, the Executive Director of the International Buddhist Health Center. Then we have the Buddha Puja. Then we have the Buddha Puja by all schools of Buddhist tradition, and then the transferring of merits. Then we have a brief speech. Then at 11:30 there will be offering of Sangadana at the Mahayana Guest House, Bodhgaya. I read out a brief description of how we are today here, why we are here today, and for whom, whose efforts we are here. We would like to pay our gratitude. Blessed is this hour when we are all assembled here this morning under the shade of the sacred Mahabodhi tree, the tree of enlightenment or wisdom, where the Prince Siddhartha sat cross-legged under this tree, nevertheless with firm determination and complete faith in his own purity and strength, unaided by any teacher, accompanied by none, resolved to make his final search in complete solitude. A pleasant spot, suiting to the senses and stimulating to the mind, making the final effort with the inflexible resolution, though only my skin, muscles and bones remain, and my blood and flesh dry up and wither away, yet will I never steal from the seat until I have attained full enlightenment, the Samma Sambodhi. So untiring in effort, so unflagging in his devotion was he, and so resolute to realize truth and full enlightenment. Lord Buddha's message of universal love, compassion and tolerance deserves to be propagated in an age of national conflicts and rivalries. In all the world, only one place, the Vajrasana, the diamond throne, the only place firmly rooted to the core of our world system, could withstand the energies released through the transformative event of a Buddha's enlightenment, and through centuries, enlightened beings have come to Bodhgaya. Bodhgaya being the scene of Buddha's penance and enlightenment, it has always been the first choice of the pilgrims, beginning with the visit of Ashoka, the first Buddhist emperor of India in 260 BC. Streams of pilgrims flowed towards it without intermission for more than 1500 years, and princes from all parts of India vied with one another in enriching it with the highest treasures that they could command. As history records, in 637 AD, when Yun Sang, the celebrated Chinese pilgrim, saw the Mahabodhi temple that was built in the 2nd century AD, it was at its zenith. In the vicinity of the temple, Yun Sang saw 21 stupas, the largest being the Ashoka stupa. He also saw 3 tanks, Buddha, Sakra, and Mutalinga, and 6 monasteries, including the biggest monastery, Sangarama, built by a king of Sri Lanka. It had more than 1,000 resident monks at that time. For nearly 3 centuries after the visit of Yun Sang, no major repairs, improvements appear to have been carried out at Bodhgaya. In the last decade of the 12th century, the Muslims destroyed several Buddhist shrines and Buddhist monks were slaughtered on an unprecedented scale, and a considerable portion of the population fled from Bodhgaya. And in 1234 AD, when a Tibetan pilgrim visited Bodhgaya, he mentions the place was deserted and only 4 monks were found staying in the Bihar. Soon after his visit, the Mahabodhi temple was lost into oblivion. However, it appears to have been looked after by a monk for some time during the 14th century, and some repairs to the temple were carried out by a Burmese mission during the period 1496 to 1498. Thereafter, the temple was deserted by the Buddhists and left unattended. Later sometime, this holy Buddhist shrine passed into the hands of a rival sect, and the phase of its sacrilege began. By the passing of time, in the year 1885, when Sir Edwin Arnold, the celebrated author of The Light of Asia, visited Bodhgaya, he later on wrote in a pathetic tone, "The Buddhist world had indeed well-nigh forgotten this hallowed and most interesting center of their faith, the Mecca, the Jerusalem of 1,000,000 Oriental congregations. When I sojourned in Bodhgaya a few years ago, I was grieved to see the peasants performing the last rites in such a place, and thousands of precious ancient relics of carved stone lying in piles around." Prompted by this stimulating description of the seat of Buddha's enlightenment, Anagarika Dharmapala from Sri Lanka, the first Buddhist missionary of modern times, visited Bodhgaya on 22nd January 1891 along with the Japanese monk Kozen Gunaratana, and was visibly moved by what he saw. To quote in his own words, "The sacred vihara, the Lord sitting on his throne, and the great solemnity which pervades all around makes the heart of the pious devotee weep. How delightful, as soon as I touched my forehead, the Vajrasana, a sudden impulse came to my mind. It prompted me to stop here and take care of this sacred spot, so sacred that nothing in the world is equal to this place where Prince Sakyasena gained enlightenment under the Bodhi tree." This matchless impulse in him should have therefore been counted as the beacon star to enkindle the innermost impetus of Venerable Anagarika Dharmapala, to render him as a missionary of selfless dedication for salvaging the untold humiliation of the holiest of the holy Bodhgaya pilgrimage, caused for long centuries under the clutches of the jealous and envious sections of the people. As a matter of his own destiny, with firm resolution and conviction, since sponsored by the doctrine of the Blessed One, he indulged on absolute determination with rightful earnest to stay at Bodhgaya till some satisfactory arrangements were made to preserve the sanctity of the sacred shrine. There arose a grand opportunity in 1893, the World Parliament of Religions, which was held in the city of Chicago in the USA, and in which the Anagarika Dharmapala took active participation in this assembly. And according to him, the venue of Parliament of Religions would be the proudest occasion of modern history and the crowning work of the 19th century. He presented his illuminating speech entitled "The World's Debt to the Buddha." His oratory skill and the contention of the theme not only served to the best way of disseminating the teachings of the Buddha, the sublimest advent of the universe, but also instantly brought him to the forefront of the luminaries of spiritual horizon. By virtue of this Parliament of Religions, he was accorded with great cooperation and assistance from vast number of personalities, both from India and abroad, for the restoration of the Buddhist shrine and the revival of Buddhism in India in the land of its birth. During his missionary tours of various countries in America, Europe and Asia, he used to earn a lot of devotees through the benevolence of whom Venerable Anagarika would go ahead in this great task. And amongst them, to name a few, are Mrs. Mary Elizabeth Foster, a Hawaiian lady from the USA, who was the foster mother of the Anagarika. Whenever the Anagarika was in need of financial assistance for his Buddhist revival work, it was his foster mother that helped him with absolute confidence. Then it is Sir Colonel Henry Steele Olcott from New Jersey, USA, the great man who pioneered Anagarika Dharmapala to come to the forefront of the Buddhist revival movement in the world, especially in Asia and India, and guided and assisted the Anagarika to save Bodhgaya from non-Buddhists, and he rendered a great service in the legal battle on Bodhgaya, which the Anagarika fought for 10 years. Venerable Anagarika Dharmapala's great mission for the revival of Buddhism is an invaluable contribution to India. Another illustrious man of India, born in the 19th century, to whom we owe our infinite gratitude for his unparalleled accomplishment and outstanding contribution to the regeneration of Buddhism in India, is Baba Sahib Dr. Bihar Ambedkar from Nagpur in Maharashtra. From his early career, he was greatly influenced by Lord Buddha's message of love, compassion, and equanimity, and was finally convinced that this caste barrier, as well as all traditional practices and prejudices which hinder man's progress, could be removed only by following the Buddha's message, where it is, he may say, a man does not become a Brahmin by reason of his matted hair or his lineage or caste, in whom are to be found and law. He is pure, he is a Brahmin. It was another great event in the history of the revival of Buddhism when Baba Sahib, Dr. Ambedkar, embraced Buddhism with his thousands of followers at the specially prepared Shabhumi at Nagpur on the 14th October 1956. It was his unique conversion to Buddhism on his own accord to Lord Buddha's humanitarian ideal, where there is no distinction of caste or creed, and where man's dignity and birth are respected, irrespective of lineage and faith. We pay our reverential regards and gratitude to Venerable Anagarika Dharmapala and Dr. Baba Sahib Bihar Ambedkar, two luminaries of the Buddhist world, for their invaluable contribution to mankind. Others, prominent among them, who have been fortunate enough to carry on the works for the revival and preservation of Buddhism in India, the name list is endless. To name a few who are no more amongst us, we begin with the most venerable Hikatuveswari Sumangala Mahathero, Mr. Devapriya Valisina, the Venerable Neluve Jinaratna Nayaka Mahathera, Venerable Dr. Uruvilla Dhammaratana Thero, Venerable Dr. Pottuvilla Gunaratana Nayaka Thero, Venerable Dr. Ellavala Nandisara Mahathero, Venerable K. Dhummarattika Thero, Venerable Jagdish Thakkar, Venerable Bhaganta Ananda Kaushalayan, and so on. In sum, the contributions of all these glorious pioneers in sustaining the revival movement launched by the Venerable Anagarika Dharmapala surpasses all. And the main reason for our assembly today here this morning is that the International Buddhist Health Center has out of the 4 holy places to a Buddhist, namely Bodhgaya, Sarnath, Kushinagar and Lumbini, selected Bodhgaya, the holiest shrine, as the most appropriate place to conduct this religious program and perform the transferring of merits in memory of these glorious pioneers who undertook the noble deeds for the revival and regeneration of Buddhism in India. Thank you. Venerable Nelue Ratanasis Sathero, the Executive Director of the International Buddhist Health Center, to welcome the audience.
Most venerable monks, friends and devotees, this is my duty to welcome you all at this occasion. At my invitation, different countries and different places, people, monks and other devotees to participate in this ceremony, I welcome you all. I don't talk too long time, so we have to another items to transfer merits and different traditions, chanting ceremony. So by welcoming you, I stop my few words.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. We will now have the recitation of sutras and chantings by the various schools of Buddhism here. Before that, there are some flowers there. I would ask the devotees to please make the offering of flowers on the other side.
This is the Indian flower. This flower name is the marigold. And rose. Now we begin with the chanting. We have venerable monks here from Burma, Sri Lanka, Japan, some Tibetan lamas. So we start country-wise. I would request the venerable monks country-wise. So I request the most venerable monks from Burma to please begin the recitations. I would request the most venerable monks from Sri Lanka to do the recitation. Now, I would request the most venerable monks from India to please do the recitation.
Bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa so bhagavaraham samma sambuddho vijja sarana sampanno sugato lokavido vanuttaro purisa dhamma sarati satta deva manusyanam buddho bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sandepiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Panaiko Shatang Devitambo Vinyo Hiti Supati Bhanno Bhagavato Sabhaka Sangho Ujupati Bhanno Bhagavato Sabhaka Sangho Nyayapati Bhanno Bhagavato Sabhaka Sangho Same Sipati Bhanno Bhagavato Sabhaka Sangho Dang Sattari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Bhuggala Yesa Bhagavato Sabhaka Sangho Huneyo Bahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaneyo Anutarang Punya Ketang Lokasati
Now I would request the most venerable monk here from Japan to do the
無常人人未妙法百千万号南遭遇が根検門特十字願芸如来真実義マカハンニャハラミタ信行漢字財宝作業人ハンニャハラミタ自称剣豪雲海空洞一切空薬者利子式不意空空不意式式即税空即税式重創業式薬部尿税者利子税商法空想風書不滅不空不上不増不減税国空中無式無重創業式無限未微絶心に無式証拠未速報無限界内し無意識界無無明薬無無明人内し無老死薬無老死人無空臭滅道無知薬無得意無所特攻横 大サッタエハンニャハラミタコシンムケゲムケゲコムクフオンリ一切天道無足教ネハン三世小仏エハンニャハラミタコ徳アノクタラ三脈三宝大高知般若ハラミタ税大臣衆税大名衆税無常衆税無東道衆農場一切区真実不公公説般若ハラミタ衆終圧ギャテギャテハラギャテハラソギャテボジソワカ般若心経三に宿道空不流を一切が東予主上海具成仏道
Now, I would request the most venerable monk from Taiwan, China there to do the recitation. Now, I would request the most venerable lamas to do the recitation.
Allah.
And we share these merits with all the living and dead. By this meritorious deed, may my highly virtuous teachers, highly guardian, my dear mother and father, Surya and Chandama, kings, the devas of sun and moon, all virtuous humans, Brahma, Devas, Maras and Indras, the world protecting devas, Yama, devas of the underworld, humans, friends, and indifferent ones, enemies too, may all beings be happy, sharing my merits.
May the triple happiness be attained now, after death, and finally Nibbana. Soon may all gain release from evil by this meritorious deed and through this sharing. Soon indeed may I attain in the good, in the cutting of cravings, attachments, and all that is low in this flux of being, while striving for my deliverance. May such evil everywhere be delivered as one as one appears, existence after existence. May there be the upright mind, thoughtful wisdom, purity and energy. May evils personified as Maras never approach me through the power of my action and energy, through much power as the Lord Buddha, the lofty, supreme and best, the lordly one Buddhas and my highest lords of the Arya Sangha, even unto my final birth, may evils never approach me. Let our relatives, dear friends, share this merit, and may they be all well and happy and in peace. I would now like to request Venerable Bhikkhu Bodhipala, the Bhikkhu in charge of the Mahabodhi Mahavihara, to please speak a few words.
The most venerable Bhikkhu Sangha, Upasakas and Upasikas, at the very outset, on behalf of the Bodhgaya Temple Management Committee, I welcome you to the most holiest of the holy place for the Buddhists, that is Bodhgaya, and very fortunate sitting under that same holy tree where the Buddha attained supreme enlightenment. This place is also a World Heritage Site declared by the UNESCO in 2002. We are here today on the occasion of Transference of Merit, which is organized by the International Buddhist Help Center, and this ceremony is held every year at this time of the year, transferring merits with the hope, keeping in mind those virtuous monks who have rendered their life in the propagation of Buddhism, especially in India and abroad too. But the culmination of the program ends with the transference of merits for all the living beings in the entire universe. And today also we have done the same, transference of merits for the people living all over the world who have done much for the Buddhist cause. You have heard in the beginning of the program the history of the temple, the times it passed through with destructions, man-made and natural, and then its regeneration of not only Buddhism in India, but the regeneration of this great Mahabodhi temple also. There were many persons involved in its regeneration, starting from the Burmese up to the Sri Lankans and thereafter the English and Indians. And today we have this marvelous structure in front of us in a very good situation. But there are more that needs to be done. And as time passes, we are sure to fulfill all those pledges by those Buddhists who have devoted their life for the cause of the survival of this great object of veneration. And thereafter also, India, the land of the birth of the Buddhism, should also see the propagation of Buddhism stretched from the north to south, from the east to west, making the land of the Buddha vibrant with the message of the Buddha. And such activities, with the transference of merits, we gather more inspiration for this most noble cause of propagating Buddhism all over India, and also propagating Buddhism all over the world, especially with this vibrant message of universal love and brotherhood, compassion, equanimity. We are sure that Buddhism will send across the message, spread across the message of peace and compassion, which the world today needs most. Thank you.
On behalf of the Burmese devotees, there is one Burmese gentleman here who would like to speak a few words.
Aku jembat kanari, jenaro shiroma, tavana tibare, azani di tudo, tuyegauni boknya. Ari bokuri beku, jizuri, anya tang, tuyido kana pipare. Di thoma, ini cara ini ya thong hello mui, ni apa itu? Ibu ko ini nama tak, thong ni thong cuma lo tu lo pokoknya alungo, biasa tu pun orang ya bukan kaya, mahabodi pun ama, itu ngah, ni ini kujima, ada, aku alung apirin sayang ni alung supang bido jembare khana ma jenaro di bawang pulang soyota ko tu ya bare na atua US China Korea Korea Myanmar and Sri Lanka Japan and India.
Now we conclude this brief special occasion, and I request all the venerable monks to proceed for Sangadana at the Mahena guest house just across the road. Thank you for your presence here. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay. Please come to the Mahayana guest and have lunch.
Well, we are with Kiranji.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
if
yeah.
you-
I already asked.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Oh, great. Okay.
Kiranji wants to take a picture under the Bodhi tree.
Okay. Where do you want us to? Oh, we're going to be here.
Yes, keep on shaking. Under the Bodhi tree, why we are posing? It's video, no? Yeah, so we will be in action. Yeah.
Look at these marvelous supports to keep this tree.
His Holiness Dalai Lama sits here. Then all the congregation takes place here.
This is where
All the monks sit here. The Karmapa, Dalai Lama.
Yes, keep going. This is very good.
This will see
Is this good? Is this long? Do you think this is okay? Okay, we have enough?
Yeah.
Are we famous enough? Yeah. I think we are famous enough.
We have. Thank you very much. This is the gentleman who was photographing or filming, videoing us, and this famous group of people over here. Thank you so much.
Original footsteps, and some Burmese people felt that this is too far apart. So then they built these. And the legend is that as Lord Buddha walked in the third week of his meditation, wherever he put his foot, a lotus blossomed on its own. And that's what these stones represent, his footsteps. And you know, it says that Lord Buddha spent the third week here walking up and down in meditation on the platform lotuses. They indicate the places where his feet rested while walking. It's all written there.
Very nice.
Now,
Now,
I
Patty,
become a
you know
movie
what?
star, and that's
Now
enough.
you're a movie. Some of them, I believe, were they found one original, and or something. They found parts. And isn't this true? No.
I'm 20 years there. I don't know anything. I just know this is this. This is this.
Oh, look at now. You see up here. This though is true. This was done by the Tibetans.
Yeah.
Because they felt that that was more the proper distance of the stepping of Buddha, because it was more normal man.
But they say that, you know, that's probably
You see,
where
Patty
they
is
were.
now
And then
a little of this fun. This pure fun in the snow. Patty.
Paddy, you're taking up
Are you
Yes.
Patty? How many was that? 100 rupees? Did you collect the 100 rupee for the tour?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure.
I have to make a collection.
We have to
today
get
was a
going. Here comes our tour guide. She's hurrying.
The sheep that went off the fold, running back.
Look at our tour guide has caught up with us, and we can now go. Okay, very funny.
The original white crystal is from Arkansas.
This one is Austrian.
It could be
Austrian crystal.
Yeah. But I think it has crystal log.
We are standing by the dry riverbed that flows in monsoon, but this is the riverbed that was cursed by Sita Ji because after her father-in-law's death, he appeared to her alongside this riverbed, and no one believed her. She asked for the river to witness her story, and a cow, and a couple other beings. And the riverbed did not honor her wish, and so she said it had to go underground. And this is the Mahabodhi temple.
All those years as a professor are now going to be concentrated on
Beautiful.
real awakening, real awareness.
Built by Ashok. And those next to it are Mahasamadhi mandirs. And this is the temple dedicated to Siddhartha, where he came and sat, and a Brahmin farmer brought him some kush grass, and he ate some of it, and he wasn't sure what else to do with it, so he sat on it, and he was here for many years before enlightenment. Karen? Padma and Steve. And it's Buddhaji and the Brahmin farmer offering him the kush grass. Well, that's what it's telling me. Okay. Ranchi ashram. These birds seem to stay on top of what we call the crow tree. All the time they make a sound like a duck. and throw it into the tree. They're pretty big. They're really actually the size of a duck. Since they sound like one, I guess that's appropriate. And the crows don't like it. It's their tree, and they feel invaded. Face a bit like a seagull. They are water birds. I've seen them flying over next to the over the pond and stuff. There's one behind me, you can hear it. Not the singer. Quack, quack. Discussing who gets what space.